Hey, welcome to Dejuan's Aerial Quad channel. Today I am in Ironton, Missouri. This is Ironton and Pilot Knob are touching each other, and they're right. I don't know exactly which town it's in or if it's in both, but it was a Civil War battlefield, and there is actually a Civil War fort. Now we might catch a glimpse of it. It's about 1.5 miles from here. By road, so it's probably a little closer on the drone, but I don't want to fly right over it. They don't really want you to do that, and I'm going to respect that. It is, of course, a museum. I've been there once before. It's been quite some time, and it's pretty neat. Big earth berm, 3 or 4 sides. I think it's 4 sides. But here in the spot I found to take off from in the town of Ironton, we've got a nice old water tower to take a look at before we mosey on over toward the battlefield. A lot of birds also like this water tower. Nice. But yes, this area is known as Arcadia Valley, and you get a sense of the valley here. And they just put Highway 21 run straight through it. So I found a nice closed business, closed for the day. To park. It is about 5:45 in the afternoon here. We're still at same day. It's June 4th. 4th? No, June 3rd. Goodness. And got the Mini 5 Pro, and I'm still rocking the Pro settings. The ND32. There's auto. Certainly brightens it up, but it's just so warm a color. I like the cooler color. Alright, now being this is a valley. We'll pop up a little bit here. I don't have a ton of info about the Ironton area, other than, again, it's right there next to another town called Pilot Knob and Civil War Battlefield. And I think we're looking at the Fort Davidson right there. It might be more than 4 or 5 sides. That earth berm. And from what I remember of the story, this is Missouri, of course, so it would have been the Union Army defending. The Confederates came in, and I don't remember if the Union set it off on their own or if the Confederates set it off, but there was a powder magazine that got set off on one of these walls and just demolished. You can imagine, hundreds of pounds or maybe thousands of pounds of black powder. Yeah, this was a defended territory right here. Fort Davidson in the American Civil War. Otherwise, we're just here in a nice, beautiful valley, the town of Ironton. Let's see, we're facing west, kind of looking northwest up 21 here. And Pilot Knob is that direction. And yes, again, have I mentioned this is a valley? My connection will not be great, even if I pop up all the way to max altitude, which I just did. That's a nice view of the fort. I'm not gonna hover over it, but it looks like there's a couple cannons over there. Yeah, the American Civil War is certainly a neat thing to study. Might pop in that museum later. I still would like to get back up to Caledonia and see if I can see what was causing that fire from the previous video. Oh, and speaking of the previous video, everything landed fine, and there's no damage or anything. Battery is charging, so everything's all good there. If you've ever taken one of these DJI batteries to the limit like that, I mean, that was not the limit, that was over 10%. Obviously they get warm, and then they don't really want to fly. They don't want to take a charge, rather, until they cool off. So the smart charger is smart, hence the name, and it won't actually try to put any charge in until the battery decides it's ready. So that's handy. As always, thanks to Dead Armadillo Sounds, good old Zach giving us something to hear. That's not just me not knowing much about the town of Ironton. So this part of Missouri, we are getting a little bit farther away from the Ozarks, but it's still basically the Ozarks. It almost has more of like a Smoky Mountain sort of feel with all these, not just rolling hills, but like more mountainous kind of terrain. Let's see, that's southeast, so that is not the fire we were looking at before. I don't guess there's any chance I can see down to Caledonia. That would be back north. That fire was very light. The smoke, rather. That's probably it. Alright. So we perhaps can see a bit of that smoke from whatever that fire was all about. But beautiful day. Can't ask for a much better day than this to fly. Nice pond. Good farmland here. This is more grazing farmland. Probably cattle, in fact. Yep. Cattle it is. It's a pretty big industry in Missouri throughout the state. Ironton. As I remember, there is or at least at one point was, some iron mining in the area. I don't know if it's this town specifically, or if it's one of those situations where there's a bunch of tiny towns and they kind of name an area after it and that becomes a town. I just don't remember the history of this area that well. All sorts of ways things get their names. Here's a nice pond. Let's take a look at that. Looks like one of those man-made units. I don't think the good Lord created lines like that. So it might be something to do with water treatment. Doesn't look like recreational for its size and shape. Probably water treatment. What we got over there? Hey! Oh! That's a fancy looking building. Let's see if we can make it over there. Didn't really have any plans on this particular flight, but that looks pretty cool. Let's go see if we can get a better look. And of course the water tower was the first thing that caught my eye. That is how I roll. All of today's videos, I think this is what, the fourth one? Will probably have a little bit of background noise from the air conditioner. It is still 82 degrees. It has been 82 degrees basically all day. And you start baking in here pretty quick. There's a nice looking golf course. Is that a nice building related to the golf course? That's too far away. Let's see, where is the clubhouse? I don't remember a golf course in Ironton. In this general area, I have been to one in Farmington years ago. Can't think of what that one was called. Very bad at golf, but it's a nice way to ruin a perfectly good walk. Now, Churchill gets a lot of quotes misattributed to him. And I know his name is the one I always think about when I hear that quote. Might not be actually him. Might be him, though. He had to say something. We know he gave the Iron Curtain speech here in Missouri. And we know that he said cool things like, Never give in. Never, never, never. I only know that because I've heard him say that. Otherwise, hard to say. Yeah, what is this now? There are prisons, jails in the area. This looks awfully nice to be a jail. I don't see much barbed wire or fencing or anything, but all these outbuildings. So maybe that's just a school. 3 stories, that's hardcore. And then they built onto it in more modern construction. That's going to be my guess. If Edit Room Dejuan is feeling very industrious, perhaps he will look into what that building is and fill us all in. But currently Flying Dejuan has no idea. Well, the connection is not good right now. Still have a bit of telemetry, but well, not much. Oh, there, lost it. Lost my signal, and I did fix the return to home. It's going to be at max altitude, so we are relying on that. I might have gotten too far here. I'm sitting next to a steel building, and I may have flown too far in the direction of said steel building. Aircraft air detected. I don't like that, but there we have transmission again. Well, that's 2 rather nerve-wracking flights in a row. Don't care for that, but it's coming back now. And yes, it is 100% on the wrong side of a metal building. So we're just going to let it mosey its way back. And maybe the drone is telling me that I should call it a day on flying. It might be what it's saying, I don't know. That was weird. It just stopped. Stopped everything, stopped beeping and everything. Okay, we're getting closer though. We're just a little over a mile. This might be the sketchiest return to home I've ever experienced. I know I had just a small handful of them on my big trip last summer, but none of them were quite like this. I got 1 bar and 2 bars I'm jumping between. I think it's taking me to the wrong side of the highway, but that should be an easy fix once I get it in view. In fact, let me try this. Cancel return home, and let me go off this direction, which should put me on the right side. Yeah, see? Here's the steel building I'm parked at, and I'm just on the right. Yeah, 5 bars. Boom. Just like that. Alright, well, DJI software, once again, is saving the day, because I'm a bit of a goofball. And that's just the thing we've come to know and expect here on Dejuan's Aerial Quad channel. Any regular viewers will know that sometimes I go a little bit over my skis, and it's good that I've got these somewhat dummy-proof bits of tech helping me out. But yeah, I mean, I am parked there, and that is impressively inaccurate. I wonder if I'd let it land if it would have made it all the way back home. It usually does, but I rarely actually let it do that all the way. Well, we'll take one last look here of Ironton. I think The drone is given every indication that I should probably hang it up for at least this flight and maybe try again later, or maybe just try again another day. So this was Ironton, Missouri. We saw a little bit of the Civil War battlefield fort from a respectable distance. And we're going to call it a day there. Thanks for watching Dejuan's Aerial Quad channel. And I do hope that I see you next time.